from the campus of the University of Nebraska at Omaha. Consider This, a program of issues and information behind today's news.
As schools in Minnesota closed, 8-year-old Ridley Zamuda and his sisters, 10-year-old Mila and 12-year-old Tegan, began begging for a puppy. And with mom now also working from home, the time was right to adopt 4-month-old Gomer.
So Gomer, I have to say, has brought so much laughter and joy into our family. And he's really such a positive force during this super crazy time where honestly, so little of what we experience every day feels normal.
Lucky Dog Rescue in Washington, D.C. is answering the call from shelters across the country. This van arrived from South Carolina with 84 animals on board. Over half went straight to adoptive homes.
And so having an animal, having that friend, that warm body next to you, it makes things feel better.
Just ask the Zamuda kids.
He's just always funny and likes to snuggle.
Hi everyone, I'm Kathy Wyatt. Welcome to this week's edition of Consider This. Our topic, the pet adoption boom. Joining us via Zoom to talk more about it is Pam Weiss. Pam is the Vice President of Public Relations and Marketing for the Nebraska Humane Society. Welcome, Pam.
Well, thank you for having us, Kathy.
You betcha. This wouldn't be a program with Pam Weiss without a little companion nearby. I'm sure you have some, some coming over here.
Come here, baby. Come on.
There. Tell us about your friend.
So this is Sadie Mae, and I think she's been taught not to jump up. Will you come here? Come here. Come on. Come on up. Up here. Up here. Up here. Oh my gosh. Now she's going to be good. Maybe I can tilt my screen so that you can see her. Sadie.
There you go.
Come on. Oh, good girl. So Sadie Mae is a 7-year-old chocolate lab, and she loves treats. I know, pretty girl. How are you? She was with someone who was in the military who needed to, rehome her. I think they get deployed. Yes, they get deployed. So she is a sweetheart and one of the many dogs that we still have at the shelter. Although I will say that this year we have had fewer animals turned in, so that might be a good thing about the pandemic. Because I think that people are at home and they're keeping their pets and they're able to keep their pets because they are staying home more, not leaving and going on vacations and doing those types of things that sometimes preclude people from needing to feel like they can't take care of their pets any longer.
Yeah. So Pam, other than dogs and cats, what kinds of animals are people bringing home?
Oh gosh, I got to tell you, Kathy, we have had more critters go out the door, and I think it's because there's so many kids that are home. So we've had bunnies and guinea pigs and rats, and as soon as we get the critters in, boy, we have a list of people that are looking for them and wanting to take them. I think that there are a lot of times guinea pigs, some buns, some of those guys that don't have to be walked, maybe are a little easier pet to have. Parents are feeling like this is a good thing for us to do. It's a good time to do it. Families all home, good project for everybody. And so we've adopted out, like I said, a lot of the critters. We've also adopted out a lot of cats and a lot of dogs. So depending on what you're looking for, if you're looking for someone to hang out with you during the pandemic, we just might be able to fill the bill.
Okay, and what, other than the Humane Society, what are the various ways that folks can get pets, Pam?
Oh my gosh, there are several rescues in town as well that have dogs and cats mainly, although some of them have other animals as well, available for adoption. A lot of the PetSmarts and Petcos have some of the little critters like the guinea pigs and the hamsters and the gerbils and those guys. So depending on what you're looking for, I think the city has lots of options for you if you want to rescue. Or if you want to give an animal, a new home in your home.
Okay, and you've already talked a little bit about it, but I don't know, tell us about the differences in terms of why people are adopting during the pandemic. Just review those for us.
Well, I think, first of all, kids are home. Parents are looking for projects for their kids to do. It's a great time for families to be together and to then be able to introduce a pet into their home. I think for people that are especially, well, anybody who's social distancing and is staying within just their tiny bubble, their whole social strata, I think, has been really shrunk. And so I think a lot of people are at home. There's nobody else there. If you're single and you're working from home, boy, you really aren't getting a whole lot of social interaction except via Zoom. With people that you normally would talk to every day or chit chat with or have a lot more interaction with. And so having a pet at home to play with and to goof around with and to look over and see, oh, she's sniffing at the door, or oh my gosh, she's looking at a bird, or having fun, having a 5-minute break to throw the ball, to play goof around with in your house. Those are things that we really need right now if we're stuck at home, especially if we're stuck at home with not a lot of other people in your home. So I think that the single folks that are at home, working from home, are really enjoying the fact that they've got cats and dogs there and just enjoying the antics and enjoying a little bit of interaction with another living being in their household.
Right, and of course so many people tapping into the Nebraska Humane Society. You've been there quite some time, Pam. So I would imagine this next question, tell us about the Nebraska Humane Society, is going to be pretty easy for you.
So this is my gray hair, Kathy, that I have gotten from the shelter. The rest of it's L'Oreal. But anyway, boy, the shelter is, I have been here a long time and have seen a lot of different changes going on in the shelter. And this past year, I got to tell you, it has been just a very interesting year. Things are so different. We're able to use technology to communicate and to get adoptable animals out, which has been great for us. It's also been an interesting year, like I said, because we haven't had as many animals coming in. When the pandemic hit, we were very worried about the fact that we might have to close down completely and not be able to adopt any animals out. And if that were the case, at some point, if that were the case, we wanted to have as few animals at the shelter as possible. And that's kind of Shelter 101. If you have any type of natural disaster in your area, you try to get as many animals out as you can so those incoming have a place to be and you'll still be able to take care of them. So when COVID first hit, we thought, oh my gosh, we're going to have to get foster families. So we had a lot of foster families that took animals for the first, couple weeks, maybe 3 weeks or so, and month. And then we kind of started into a pattern where we were able to get animals out into homes. Some of them were adopted. Some of them gradually kind of trickled back, but we were able to then, during that time period, figure out a process to get the rest of the animals out once we needed to kind of assimilate to COVID. So now our animals are available online. You look at the pictures of them. Right in their bio is an adoption application link that you can fill out. You send it in, we check it out, we kind of look and go, gosh, you've got small kids and this animal doesn't do well with small kids. You may want to look at a different animal. So people fill out adoption applications. We send them a link. They set up a time to schedule to come in. And then we hopefully have that animal available for them and we're able to get it out to them. But the whole process has changed. People aren't just coming in and kind of shopping or looking at animals anymore, which is interesting because that's one of the ways that you fall in love with a pet is you go in and you look and you go, oh, look at this guy. Oh, he's so sweet. Look at his eyes. Or, oh, he's cowering in the back. I want to take him home and care for him. Or, oh, look how rowdy he is and fun at the front. I want somebody to play with. Depending on what you're looking for, that personality really shines. So we've had to kind of try to figure out how to showcase their personalities, even though it's a picture, maybe a little video, versus people coming in and meeting animals. The interesting thing, though, too, sorry, I'm waxing poetic, but the interesting thing is that it's a paradigm of choice. So if people can only meet a couple animals when they come in during their adoption application or during their appointment, if they can only meet a couple, then they don't walk around and go, oh my gosh, I really want a big dog, but look at that puppy and look at this dachshund, but I really want a larger dog. And then, but the Chihuahua, we help them pare it down before they get here so that they see just a couple animals and hopefully that makes the decision a little easier for them. And they may walk out with what they were originally looking for instead of getting sidetracked. So it's been a really interesting process during COVID.
So Pam, help me out here. It sounds like there are benefits on both sides, pre and during. So how is the Nebraska Humane Society going to find middle ground, you know, once we continue forward with this, because you have outlined beautifully, by the way, the benefits on each side. I was going to ask you about the relational aspect and how you were able to pull it off through technology to really find the right home for the right animal. And it sounds like you've done that. So now moving forward, what are you guys thinking? Are you going to kind of combine the two, or how's that going to work?
You know, and we've been talking about that. That's one of the strategic plans that we're looking at and saying, well, okay, so we've had some success with this. It does seem to pare it down so that we call you and we talk to you about this pet before you ever come in. And then that way, because we used to have people that would sit here for hours and hours and hours. You know, I got on the list, but there are 15 people ahead of me, and I just hope my animal's still here when I get here. Well, if we're talking to you about this animal and trying to hopefully, you know, we call you up and we say, hey, we noticed you've got an appointment today. One of the animals that you wanted to see left yesterday, but the other one's still here. Is there anybody else you might want to look at? And then, well, we're looking for a large dog. So we're able to work with them on the phone before they ever get in here. So hopefully we keep the lines down here. And maybe there's a way that we can then work that as we get back to open entry, come on in, shop for a pet. There's a way to work that as well. And it's all kind of trial and error. We're still in those stages of still working it through right now. And then as the vaccine comes and as we're able to hopefully reopen, we'll be looking at those types of interactions that we've had with people and try to figure out the best way to move forward with it. Is it something where we continue to schedule appointments for people and they can come and look at an animal, but if that animal's got an appointment, he can't be seen, and they can see animals that don't have appointments, or we don't know. I mean, it's very interesting, and it's kind of exciting to think that we might be able to make a better experience adoption-wise for people instead of coming, waiting in line for 5 hours, and then, you know, finding out, oh, well, the animal I wanted just went with the guy ahead of me. So it'll be very interesting to see. And we don't have all the answers, but it's an exciting time for us.
Well, that's fair. I wanted to ask, given the pandemic and the way people are going about all of this, was there or has there been a question that has stuck out more than another from people specifically regarding the pandemic? So in other words, they're coming into you. Was there one question more commonly asked than another as they take those pets home the way they have been?
So I think on the pre-level, one of the biggest questions that we've gotten is this animal good with kids? Obviously, everybody wants to know and that's a qualifier that we've gotten a lot of questions about as we talk to people who are trying to adopt and their kids are home all the time. So that's one question on the front side. On the back side, it's, do you still have classes? Where can I get information if I need it? And we've been doing some Zoom informational types of classes with a couple people. We still have our trainers who offer support for people afterwards, because I think we're getting a lot of people that get the animal home. They're home with them all day long. So a lot of times those animals, you know, actually do really well. They're with their people, they're kind of rowdy or whatever, then they flop down and they fall asleep as the people are doing work. So I think that people actually are having a better adoption experience with the animals now because they're with them all the time and they can see, oh, he does calm down. Okay, we just need to give him a little time to do zoomies or whatever he needs to do. Or, oh, we can work with him to stay in this area while we're eating. He doesn't have to grab the cookie out of the toddler's hands, kind of thing. So I think that people are having a better adoption experience because they're having more time with their pet. At the beginning, the questions were, oh my gosh, my cat is all over me as I'm Zooming because he can't believe I'm home. My dog is jumping up all over me. I think now people are, having been with the pandemic this long, people have kind of assimilated with their pets and they've learned how to live with them a little bit better because they've kind of been forced into this situation where I'm stuck with you for all day. So we need to figure it out. And we've been doing a lot of support that way. We've been doing some Facebook Lives on basic training tips for your animals. We've got a behavior helpline for folks. Our trainers have been talking to people and also offering up classes here at the shelter. Yes, I know you need some classes, don't you? Classes for people for learning how to do some basic training for folks as they get their animals in. So I think it's been a good process for us to learn a little bit more and to help people, even though they're not coming in like they did for classes. We're really trying to work to help those people keep those pets in their homes. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I, as you're talking, I'm thinking, and that all sounds great, but there will be a time when folks resume their lives outside their homes. We're going to go from here to here, right? So talk to those people who are watching, who are experiencing everything you've just said, but know full well that they're going to be going back into the community. Talk about that transition time. What can they be doing now to gradually wean themselves, out of that situation?
Well, and you hit the nail on the head, Kathy. Wean yourself out of that situation. So you may have a dog that just, oh my gosh, he's with me all day long and he loves me so much. And when I leave, he is going to go bananas. So giving your pet a little bit of alone time now is a great thing. So we play in the morning and then I go into Zoom and maybe I pop you into your crate for a little while, or I pop you over on your bed with a Kong or some type of longer term treat that they can hang out with. And that occupies their time. Most of the time they chew on that or whatever and then kind of fall asleep. Well, if that's the process, then when you leave, it's going to be, well, we goof around for a little bit in the morning and then I am going to put you down on your bed with your Kong and we're gonna let you hang out here for a little while, or we're gonna put you in your crate if you're gonna crate them when they leave. And it's, if you start that process now of getting them used to having a type of a schedule that's going to fit into a workday away from home as well as a workday at home, that will help kind of assimilate them. And they'll be like, oh, well, this is time I normally go in my crate. Okay, great. Oh, and I get my Kong. That's fabulous. Then I'm gonna snooze. And then, at noon, if you go home to let them out, or maybe somebody else does, or maybe you don't, and they stay there most of the day, they're going to need to, you're going to want to elongate that time that they're in there, even though I know that's tough because you're home, but elongate that time a little bit so that they, every, week or so, have another half hour in that area that they're going to be, so that by the time that you go back to work, they're kind of used to that whole, hey, I'm alone in here and I'm fine. I know they're in the house, but I'm fine. And it's the same way that you do training or anything else. You start little and then you add on and add on and add on. So our trainers can certainly help with that, as can our behavior helpline. If you're worried about, wow, this dog loves me, I think he's going to go crazy, how do I avoid separation anxiety? We certainly can help with that. And it's free of charge. We've got behaviorists that are happy to do that because we want them to stay in your home. We don't want them coming back.
Yeah, that's great advice. Now let's talk. So fast forward a little bit, people have left, they're coming back, and it's not going quite as well as they had hoped it would go. Red flags. I mean, there's got to be a difference between that's typical to that's not quite so typical. So what are the red flags that folks should be looking for to make sure that they're keeping that pet on track with that weaning?
So I think obviously the big thing would probably be separation anxiety for people, because those animals are being left and they're so used to having such socialization most of the day. And so separation anxiety, animals that have true separation anxiety get kind of frantic. They can rip through crates. They can dig up carpeting in order to try to get out the door. So if you see your animal getting anxious when you're not there, and you can start with 10 minutes in the crate and then, or 10 minutes in the spare room that he's going to be in, or wherever he may be, just 10 minutes of alone time. And then if he's really worried, then that may be a red flag, and then try 15 or 20 as you're going along. But if he keeps getting, if he gets very, very overwrought, anxious, maybe bloodies his paws trying to dig out, or is digging out, or is ripping up something in your home and doing some destruction, that's definitely a red flag, like, hey, we need to nip this in the bud now, or we're going to come home to a completely destroyed house. And give us a call, because our folks can really help with those types of things, separation anxiety, or dogs that get very anxious when they leave. And sometimes it's just, oh my gosh, we're going to pop you in a kennel, we're going to put on some soft music, we're going to give you a Kong, you're going to cry, and then you're going to go to sleep. And that's typical. Digging out the linoleum to try to get underneath the crate to get out, harming themselves, bloodying their paws, super upset, kind of frantic behavior, that's not usual, and that's not typical, and your dog shouldn't be doing that, and you don't want him to do that because it's very stressful for him. And we can certainly help with those types of behavior issues as well. One thing to think about too is your potty schedule. You may want to try to get him on a potty break schedule, so that it's morning, and then if you can get home at noon, great. If not, you may want to not leave a giant bowl of water out, because if he just goes to sleep, that's great. If he drinks the whole bowl of water, he's going to have to go to the bathroom. I'm not saying don't give him water, but you may want to not leave a giant bucket out if you're going to be gone for more than 4 or 5 hours. But yeah, get him on the schedule that he's going to be on when you're leaving. Try to start weaning into that process of, hey, I'd be leaving about now, so I'm going to pop you in your kennel for 10 minutes and see how you do. And if he does fine, leave him in there for 20 tomorrow. And if he doesn't, then back off a little bit, try it again. And then if not, you can give us a call and we'll try to give you some tips.
Well, and I think that's great that you're open for tips like that, because psychologically, this may wear on some people. They're used to having it a certain way. They're home. Now they're going to be transitioning back to work or back to school, whatever the case may be. And they're likely going to be feeling added stress when they come back through that door to face whatever it is that's waiting for them. So talk a little bit to those pet owners who are thinking, I got this. But then they come home that first time and there's a mess, or there's this or there's that, and they're thinking, I can't do this, I'm gonna give up.
Yeah. Oh no, don't. I mean, you've had such a great time with your pet up to this point, and the change for you, think about what your change was like when COVID started and all of a sudden we're at home and we've got to figure everything out. The change for him is the same way. Now he's doesn't have you anymore, and he's got to figure it out. My life has changed. What's going on? If they abandoned me, what's happening? Why aren't they here? So to be able to look at it and go, okay, this was an issue. We left him out. He wrecked some stuff. So we need to figure out how to contain him, and how to contain him appropriately, and how to contain him so he is not only safe, but comfortable. And so what can we do? Where can we put him? What does he need? He ripped this up. Okay, so we don't want to leave something like that in there, but maybe we can give him a strong chewing toy or some puzzle toys, or instead of feeding him in the morning and at night like we have been doing, maybe we feed him throughout the day with a kibble kind of dispenser so he can play and work his brain a little bit. Those types of things, because yeah, the first time you walk home and you walk in and you're kind of crazed from your first day back and it's been semi-stressful, and then you walk in and go, oh no, this is a mess. That can be really, really disheartening and extremely stressful and frustrating. So to kind of look at it and go, okay, he had a change. What did he do? And you can look around and go, what did he do? Well, he ripped everything up. Okay, so he needs something to do while I'm gone. We need to give him something appropriate to do so that he doesn't do other things. We probably need to contain him. I know some people hate to crate dogs during the day. Or kennel. I generally, if they're in an enclosed area like a den, like they would be in the wild, they're going to be more comfortable. They're going to pop in there and just kind of, okay, this not a whole lot to do, so I'm going to sleep. So hopefully we'll be able to work with you, and you'll be able to kind of look at that and go, okay, we need to figure out some things to do. Number 1, is he contained? Number 2, is he safe? Number 3, is he happy? And those are the things that you want to look at as you're figuring out what you're going to do with him while you're at work. Maybe it's that, okay, one of us, because we're both working again, but we're only working part-time. One of us is going to be home every other day. So maybe that's it. Or maybe it's one of us needs to come home during lunch. Or maybe it's if the kids get home early, let the dog out. I mean, work your schedule so that you can give your dog hopefully what he needs to be happy and not be destructive in your home.
Okay.
And it's so varied, Kathy, too, depending on what's happening, that our behaviors can kind of look at that and go, okay, so here's his deal. This is what he's doing, and this is why he did it. So let's figure out what we can do to keep him from doing that and to make him comfortable.
Okay, excellent. Now, in about a minute, could you tell us, for those people who aren't going to be able to do it, they thought they could, but for whatever reason, they're not going to be able to do it. 1 minute, tell us the proper way to go ahead then and return the pet.
So if there's a problem and you are just at your wit's end, and we'd love for you to obviously work through the problem if you can, to call our behaviorists if you can, and you really need to bring the pet in, then you absolutely can. We are currently taking surrenders anytime that we're open. We want as much information as we can on why you're surrendering so that we can better match him to the next family. If he does have separation anxiety or there are issues when you go back to work, we'll want to know about those so that we can work through those or give them to the next family to work through as well. So lots of information. I understand that's one of the reasons why we're here is to take those pets that need a place to go. So if he does need a place to go, we are available and open. You can bring him in, bring in information about him, and we will try to work our way through that with you and get as much info as we can so that we can place him in a good home.
Okay.
Also, our behavior helpline can take information about that too.
Okay. Now, Pam, February
Yes.
20th is National Love Your Pet Day. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to put up a few websites here for folks, because even if you don't have a pet, there are things that you can do to help out in your community. You can donate to places like the Nebraska Humane Society to kind of help folks out. But these are the websites. It's nehumanesociety.org and nationaltoday.com, where you can find more information on National Love Your Pet Day. Pam Weiss with the Nebraska Humane Society joining us today. I want to thank you so much. And of course, I want to thank our students who are working so hard behind the scenes and our viewers for watching. We'll see you next week.
Consider This is an issues and information program produced by UNO Television. More information and program archives can be found at netnebraska.org/considerthis. If you'd like to share your comments about this program, call UNO Television at 402-554-2516 during regular business hours, or send an email to cwyatt@unomaha.edu.
For more than 20 years, only one program has addressed topics that matter to viewers. Only one program delivers the information that Nebraskans need to live the good life. I'm Kathy Wyatt. Join my guests and me as we discuss those issues every week on a program we call Consider This.